Hey, it's Chelsea. I wanted to tell you about one of my favorite parenting podcasts at the moment, Pondering Parenthood. They're fellow Vermonters who keep it real about the joys, the chaos, and all the surprises that come with raising kids. Meghann and Mike dive into conversations that feel like chatting with friends over coffee. They're honest, vulnerable, and incredibly relatable. If you've ever needed a reminder that none of us have this parenting thing figured out, this is your sign to listen. Find Pondering Parenthood wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome to Quiet Connection, a podcast dedicated to ending the stigma surrounding perinatal mental health. I'm Chelsea. Today, I'm connecting with Mike and Meghann, fellow Vermonters and parenting podcasters, who share their story of miscarriage, pandemic parenting, and how therapy, gratitude, and a whole lot of humor help them find joy. Let's get into their journey through chaos, connection, and finding magic in the mess. Hello! Today, I am here with two very special guests, Mike and Meghann, who live 10 minutes away from me and are also parenting podcasters. How are you guys?
We're
Good.
good, yeah.
Just
Everything's
got the
great.
kids to bed, so we are thriving.
Right.
I know, we were just saying, like, you guys are night owl podcasters. I am like get it done in the mornings, and you're on your game and I'm brain dead. So this is gonna be fun.
I wouldn't say that we're not brain dead either.
That's true,
but-
yeah.
Fair enough. Well, yeah. So, I mean, I know a little bit more about you guys than I do my typical guests, just because I'm so excited to have other parenting podcasters who are literally close to home. But I'm not going to read my list of things I know about you. I would love it if the two of you could introduce yourselves. And you already know this, who you were before you were parents.
Yeah.
You wanna go first?
I'll start.
Okay.
So before I was a parent, I was a very committed kindergarten teacher. I was the type of teacher who would often stay till like sometimes 5 p.m. and Mike would be texting me like, "Where are you?" I was a little obsessive, and I gave like my entire life to my career in teaching and those kindergartners. And after I became a parent, a lot of those priorities shifted, as they would. And that was definitely a challenge, just navigating that change. And I kind of got to the point where I realized I couldn't be fully in the classroom and be the best parent I could be. And there were a lot of reasons for that shift, but I have since pulled out of the classroom, and I'm doing like small group work as a interventionist. So I'm still in education. Yeah, since becoming a parent, I really it took a little while to find that balance of like how to show up at home and be fully present at home, and I think I'm finding it. So that's positive.
You're figuring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Mike. Who was I before? I don't know.
I know, isn't that a great question?
I don't know if I remember that
Right?
far in advance. Yeah, I don't know. I was a much freer person, I guess. There was a lot more freedom, so the ability to just kind of pick up and go and do things. Also, yeah, similarly a committed teacher. I was a music teacher for 11 years, and definitely I feel like life balance before having kids is a lot easier to attain because you're not beholden to little cretins. But then they come out, and all of a sudden the balance becomes a lot harder. And so, yeah, I ended up leaving teaching because, well, again, for a variety of reasons, but I needed to find some better balance. And so I have a job now. I run a business, and I'm able to work from home. And so I'm able to be a much better parent and be more available because of that.
I love that. That's another reason why I just vibe with the two of you. I am also a former educator. I was a special educator. For 10 years, I worked in special ed. And yeah, that I was exactly like you, Megan. I was the one that was there until 5:30. And my husband's like, you need to come home because the kids need to eat and we all need to eat. Um, but yeah, the educator life is crazy. Before we get into your whole parenting journey, well, and maybe it'll tie in, what made you want to start podcasting?
Well, I'll let you start this one. Yeah.
So, as a prior educator, you might feel this as well, but when you're an educator, I won't speak for all educators, but for a lot of educators, your purpose is your job. There's not a whole lot of separation there. A lot of people have jobs. I've got many friends who found jobs that are just that, they're a job. They go, they do their job, they get paid a good salary, and then they do things with the money they make that make them feel fulfilled. But for people who join education or nursing or any of those sorts of careers, your job is your purpose. And so when I left teaching, I kind of spent a year floundering because I basically moved into a job that was just a job. I care about it deeply. It's something I want to succeed at, but it's not a purpose. It doesn't scratch that same itch. And one of the things that I find lacking as an adult is sort of a sense of community. We're very fortunate to live near people that we are very close with, and I have very, very close friends that I communicate with all the time. But I thought creating a podcast where I spoke with people about their experiences with something I could relate to, like parenting, would help to build a sense of community and would provide a bit more of a sense of purpose. And so, yeah, so this was sort of my brainchild, and I wanted Megan involved because we're obviously doing this together, the
Mhm.
parenting thing. And and it's turned into my passion project, and it has turned into your passion project, I think. I
Yeah.
think you're
I've become the nurturer of it.
the podcast. Any reason that an episode gets recorded is like 10% me and 90% Megan.
Yeah.
Do you plan things out, Megan? Like, do you like have an outline, or you're just like,
It I mean, it's pretty there's a lot just up here.
yeah,
But like we have a pretty extensive list of like people we know we want to talk to in our circle. But I think I'm definitely the motor behind like, okay, we need to get this done by this day so we can have this, and you're leaving, so we need this done. Whereas I feel like Mike's way more just, yeah, I just want to talk to
I just want to
people.
talk to people. Like and which is funny because in our relationship, I am the planner. So like I am the type A. I'm the not to go into like stereotypical roles, but like I am the female in our relationship.
It's true.
Like I'm for sure like the one. Megan's the one that's likely to come home and like kick her shoes off and grab a beer and watch TV, whereas like I'm the one nagging her, like, hey, did you do this? Hey, did you do that? Like, all those things.
That's, yeah, very accurate actually.
Yeah. So not to like stereotype, but like that's sort of the roles that we fill. So it's funny that in this, I'm just kind of like I'm just here for
You're like
I'm here
along
for the
for the
show.
ride.
Yeah, I'm just here for the show. Like I just like talking to people and communicating about shared experiences. I find that to be very enjoyable. I don't enjoy any of the other stuff, but thankfully you enjoy
Yeah.
the other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm learning a lot. And again, for me also, I feel like my change in career of going from classroom teacher to interventionist, it actually took me, which I don't know. I don't know why this was so hard, but like even just to consider myself a teacher still is like really challenging. So like there was a lot of stuff built up in like how I viewed myself. And so like this podcast has really brought more of that passion back of like something I'm excited about. Cause like the idea of even leaving teaching was like, what else am I good at? And so this has just filled a little piece of that, which is exciting.
I love that. And it's exciting for me to get to talk to other podcasters. I talk to other podcasters, but I don't talk to a lot of parenting podcasters.
Mm.
So I don't know, it's just really exciting to hear like what was your drive and why you're sticking with it. And I just think it's amazing. Your podcast, Pondering Parenthood podcast, Yes, that is the name of it, which
Yep.
will be linked in the show notes. We just keep talking about it, and I figure we better name it so people can go and
Yeah,
find
that's a
it.
good
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Affectionately known as Triple P.
We call it the triple P
Triple P. I
sometimes.
like it. I'm all about that. I call this QC. Like it's
There you go. Yeah.
I'm all about the abbreviations. Yeah, I mean, I could spend forever talking to you guys about podcasting and stuff. That'd be cool. But let's get into like the whole parenting thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So take me back, the two of you. I don't even know how long you guys have been together.
10 years.
How many?
10?
10 years?
Yeah,
Okay.
married 7.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You made it. You've hit the decade mark.
We've done it.
Yeah. That's a goalpost, baby. I don't know. I'm just saying things now. Um so prior to knowing each other, prior to settling down, did you both always know that you wanted kids?
Yeah, I definitely knew I wanted kids even like since I was young. That was always part of my plan that I had a pretty like even as like you would ask 16-year-old Megan, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna graduate college, then I'll get married, then I'll have kids. Like it was just part of what was gonna happen. There was no question in my brain. Um, so yeah, that was always something I wanted to do.
Um, yeah, I remember things differently, although we recently had a conversation where I was like, "Oh, I might be wrong about this." But I think for me, if I had met somebody who wasn't interested in having kids, I think I probably would have been okay with that. And if I had met somebody who was interested in having kids, I would have been okay with that. Although Megan has told me multiple times that when we first met, I was very much like, I definitely want to have kids.
And that might have been driven by the fact that he wanted to date me and he knew it was important. Like
It's
one of
certainly
our
possible.
very early dates, it was probably only like our 3rd date, and I had just recently ended a pretty long-term relationship, of someone who didn't want kids, and that was
I,
part of
I remember.
yeah. And so one of our early dates, I was, like, pretty clear, like, "This is something that I want in the future," and he was like, "Absolutely, I love kids. I really want kids. Of course I want kids." He claims he doesn't remember this conversation.
It's all coming back now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all coming
I could
back.
tell you what restaurant we were in.
I definitely think that I probably, if I'm being honest with myself, I probably was more on the side of wanting to have kids. But I do think it is true that if I had met somebody that was, ambivalent about it, I think I would have been, at the time, would have been very okay with not having
Yeah.
kids.
It's so interesting to me, like Mike, I'm super vibing with you. Like, I think when Megan and I were talking a little while ago on Instagram, and you're like, you remind me of Mike, like right, and now I'm seeing it because I'm like, yeah, that was me, that so yes, this is so cool and so interesting, to me, hopefully to you too, um. So yeah, so you met, you started dating, you wooed Megan with your "I always want kids, I love kids, this is amazing." Um,
Did it.
and then we're like fast forwarding through all of the nitty-gritty dating days. When did you guys decide, "All right, let's make this happen. It's time to do this thing."
So we dated for a year and a half and then got engaged. I mean, the whole thing was pretty fast, relatively. We were engaged by a year and a half, married by 3 years of dating. And I mean, I'm 4 years older than Megan. Not that that really matters, but we kind of knew that we wanted to buy a house, to have a house first. We felt that we've just personally felt that if we didn't buy a house before having kiddos, that buying a house might be challenging. Um, and so, yeah, so like a year after we were married.
Well, I remember we were in our apartment after we were married, and you kind of brought that topic up, and we're like, I definitely think we need a house first. And I remember feeling really like come on, like, we're putting it off more. And I remember feeling really sad, and then Mike's, like, the logical one, so after a while, I was like, "Yeah, no, that makes sense."
Well,
It's just, like, such a bummer to me because I was looking to start a lot earlier.
we were in it was basically a studio apartment where it was 2 floors. It was kind of a cool apartment. It was a studio apartment with 2 floors. So like upstairs was just like this big open space with a bedroom and a bathroom, and then downstairs was like barely a kitchen and a living room. Um, like went through heat every 3 weeks in the winter.
It would've been a terrible place to have
The
a
when it
newborn.
rained, the water would run down the inside. Like we had a waterfall wall. I
And the
was like,
landlord would just be like, "No, this is just Vermont. This is just how Vermont is."
and I was like, Megan, we
No.
can't have we can't live here with a kid. Like this is not going to do it. And yeah, and I would like throw the numbers and I'd be like, so we're gonna have a kid, and like here's what it's gonna look like. And I mean, I think it was tough, but I think in the end you agreed.
Oh, yeah,
You were
yeah,
like,
I
yeah, we
got
should
there.
probably wait. And so yeah, so in August of 2019 we bought our house, and then we were basically like, let's pull the goalie and let's do it. I mean we bought the house, we moved in, and it was like, all right, let's go.
It's time. I have never heard that analogy before.
Let's pull the goalie.
Let's pull the goalie. No,
Really? I think it's pretty common.
oh my God,
Yeah,
I
I don't
love
know if I
that.
only know
Well,
that from you.
Maybe yeah.
well, it's added to
Go on.
my vernacular now. I really
There you
like
go.
that.
But so we decided to start trying pretty soon after the house, but then, so that was 2019, and then I mean, obviously the
We had to wait.
2020
We had to wait a couple months.
to get the birth control through the system and
Yeah.
everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then I did get pregnant pretty quickly in January, which
You told me on my birthday.
yeah, that's right,
Because
yeah.
on my birthday, she did like the 3-week test.
Tested very early.
The
And,
early one.
Yeah.
Not a good
Yeah,
thing to
don't
do.
highly not don't recommend doing that.
And then that one ended up being a chemical pregnancy. So I at like the 5 it
Call it
was
what it is.
miscarriage.
Yeah,
It
miscarriage.
was always hard for me to like say the word miscarriage. Just cuz it's so early, but
But it
it
but it
is.
was.
Yeah,
You-
it
It
is.
We thought
was.
you were pregnant.
Right.
Yeah.
So we were so excited, and then I think it was around the 5.5 week I started bleeding, and we had to go in, and they deemed it a chemical pregnancy. I don't think I even showed up as pregnant on their test, if I remember correctly, like their P test.
Yeah.
So that was really hard.
And I had made the mistake. So
Oh yeah.
they say not to tell anybody prior to 12 weeks, but then if you don't tell anyone, then and you have a miscarriage, you have no one to like go through that with. So it's always a hard call. But I told way too many people. I mean, I was telling strangers on the street that we were pregnant.
Seriously? Not like literally.
No, not literally, but I would have told
But,
strangers on the street.
Yeah, he was telling like coworkers that weren't like super close or anything,
Yeah,
and I was like,
yeah.
Mike, you gotta stop.
Yeah, I
And
was
then
I was very excited.
That happened, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm also just really bad at secrets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's terrible at
So am I.
Yeah, can't do it. I can't tell you how many times I like have done like surprise gifts for Megan that I just tell her what I'm getting because I just
Mhm.
I don't think I've gotten a gift I don't know about in years.
yeah.
No, if the package comes, I'm like, Ben, do you want to just open it now? He's like, my birthday's in 2 months.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, no. So I get it. You're excited. And there is that expectation that I think is ridiculous personally. If it's something that is important to you, then that's important to you. But the whole like, don't tell anybody before 12 weeks. I mean, anything can happen before or after 12 weeks. So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel you. I feel your excitement. And then I also feel for you having to navigate then explaining what had happened. So
Yeah.
how was that dynamic between the two of you? How did you handle that?
I I how did we handle the miscarriage itself?
Yeah, like yeah.
I took a couple I don't remember if I took a couple days or just one day or maybe the weekend was coming up, but I definitely took time off work. And I just remember being on the couch and like crying a lot, and he'd make me tea, and it was really sweet, but like I mean, you can speak more, but I obviously it was more something that I was grieving. And I think you grieved, like, that we weren't having a baby, but
There's
it's
a
different. It's yeah.
there's a lot about the pregnancy process that when you're the non-birthing partner, you're there, but you're on the sidelines. Like I didn't experience being pregnant. I was there and I could witness certain things. So yeah, for me, it's like we're pregnant doesn't necessarily mean anything at the moment of we're pregnant, right? It doesn't really mean anything until like your belly is big and I'm like, there's a baby in there. But even then, it's like it wasn't real until a baby came out. And it's like, now we have a baby. Here's this baby that we have to take care of. So I think it was more, and throughout a lot of the pregnancy, it was more of like, how can I best support you going through this thing? Because as sad as it also was kind of like nothing is happening to me. So yeah, I mean, it was hard to like have to call everyone and then tell them, and like that was not pleasant. Which is why the next time that we got pregnant, we really shrunk the group of people that we told. It was like, you get one person, and that's it, and that way you have someone to go through it with
Well, I
you. And
remember actually feeling way more comfortable telling certain people right away. Like, it's like, no, because if anything happens, I want my mom to know. I want my best friend to know. Like,
Yeah.
those are the people that I need to know, regardless. Um, Whereas the first time around, it was like, do we even tell family? Do we, you
Mhm.
know? So we are like super selective. And afterwards, I felt like we were a little more understanding that there are specific people we really want to know, no matter what.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we had the conversation where it's like, you can tell this family member and you can tell this friend,
yeah.
and that's it. And then that, I mean, it does make it easier because to have to make 20 phone calls and say, yeah, this is what happened. It's just like by the time you get to the second or third person, you're like, I don't want to talk to anyone anymore about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am acknowledging too, like you said, like you said as like the non-birthing partner, like you're not experiencing anything. You're not experiencing anything physically, but
Right.
you're certainly I'm we're grieving the loss of an expectation for sure. I don't want to like assume, but I I would assume. So Megan, for you, and when did you decide, okay, I went through that and that was really, really hard, but I think I'm ready to try again.
Yeah, so that happened, and I would've, I think, miscarried around in February, right?
It's
Yeah,
like very early
really early
February.
February. And then they told us, like, "You might wanna just wait 1 cycle, but then you can, like, try right away, like, there's no issues doing that." And I think I was good with that idea, but then March happened of 2020,
Uh-huh.
and we all know what happened then.
Especially as educators, we all know what happened. Yeah.
And that was a terrifying time. So I know we had conversations at that point of like, we don't even know what this virus is. Like, do we even want to get pregnant? How safe is this? How safe are we going to be? And so we definitely took a month off. I don't know if we took 2 months off. It's all kind of blurry.
Well, I mean, we had Snuzz. We're going to use nicknames for kids. Uh,
Mhm.
This is our
Snuzz is
first.
our first. We ended up having her. I mean, she was due February 4th or something like that. So I think we had intended on waiting, and I think that lasted a month.
Yeah.
And then we were like, let's just do it. Because I think, like, and everything is so, like, it was such a time warp, but it's like, after a few weeks, it's like, well, we don't really know what's going to happen. And like, we could keep saying, like, let's just wait and see. But it was like, there was so little information. And I think, some people would say, yeah, no, we're just going to wait and see until we actually get information. And we just took the approach that it's like, well, we could be doing this for the next 6 months and we might not have any information. So
And
let's just go
I
for it.
specifically remember he had a phone call with his grandmother, and she was like, "There's always bad things going on in the world. That's why you have a baby. Like, we want the world to get better." So
It's very important to note that I come from an Ashkenazi Jewish family. And so like having babies is a pretty big deal. It's like, the world becomes a better place because you have babies. And um
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
she was like, just go for it.
could go wrong
Yeah.
in the middle of a global pandemic where we're disinfecting our groceries on the porch, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
you
we
got pregnant.
we got pregnant. And I think that was in May, if I remember correctly, of 2020. And, we were doing the whole remote teaching thing. So that was wild.
Yeah.
Um, but in a way it was a little bit nice that I was home. And so the first trimester I was home and then we went right into summer break, so I, was able to take naps and throw up when I needed to and just lay in my bed and eat Captain Crunch, and
Oh,
so in a way
Captain
that was
Crunch.
nice timing for a first trimester situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you because like you said, everything blurs together. Were you back in person by the time you hit the 3rd trimester?
Yes.
What was
Ye
that like for you?
Yeah. That was pretty scary, going leading up to it, and there was still so many unknowns, but everyone was like, "No, we need these kids back in school." And it was the hybrid year, so we'd have half the class 2 days of the week, then we'd had 1 day of the week where we were home, so that part was nice. And we did online things with kindergartners,
Mhm.
ridiculous. And then the other half, the last part of the week, but I remember going in and having to do the temperature check every day, having to take my put hand sanit or I was doing the hand sanitizer a bunch, and then, after doing that after a couple weeks, I'm like, "What if this, alcohol is, bleeding into my skin?" Like, I don't even know if medically that's a concern, I don't think it is, but my brain was just like, I can't put anything."
Well, I'm thinking from the viewpoint of your 3rd trimester is so tricky anyway because
Yeah.
you're, nearing the finish line, so there's all the emotions that come with that. You also are I mean, a lot of people, I don't know how you were feeling, but a lot of birthing people are just done being pregnant at that point, and you're dealing with kindergartners in a global pandemic. Did you have any anxiety around
Oh
that?
my god, absolutely. I was driving home every day listening to NPR talking about the cases and the
Mm,
rise and fall and just constantly, taking in media information about it, and just
And that
you felt
year,
like you were just living in a dystopian novel. It kept
that
having to
that
be like,
class
"This can't be real,
wasn't that
right?"
class a tough class too? You had a couple kids in that class
Yeah,
that
they were
were, like, pretty aggressive.
yeah, there were there were a couple kiddos where it could get, physical. And so that was its own issue. I felt I did have a lot of good support in the school, so that was good. And then I had to wear a mask every day on top of that. But so it was definitely extremely challenging. Um, I feel like part of me has blocked a lot of that out. I don't
I
remember
think a lot of us yeah, I was gonna say a lot of us have blocked that out, but not all of us were also about to have a baby.
Yeah.
Although there were a lot of COVID babies.
Yeah,
There was nothing else to do.
that's right.
Tiny little baby boom.
We made friends. I mean, we had moved in, like, 6 months before the pandemic started, but we ended up making a bunch of friends on our road because they all had babies within. I mean, one of our friends, like, literally across the road, I mean, their kiddo was due, like,
We were due
2
like
weeks
2 weeks apart or
after
something.
our original due date, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody on your street was getting freaky at the same
That's
time.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my god.
I do feel
Um,
like there was a little bit of, um, more calm just knowing we were in Vermont, and everything
yeah.
was so much less scary than if you were in a city or somewhere else. So that was a little helpful, but I wouldn't I mean, I was still very anxious about it.
I know I reference being very thankful to be in Vermont for a lot
Yeah.
of reasons.
It's like its own little bubble.
We are like our own little world, and I am so thankful for that. So you're approaching maternity leave again during a pretty high stress
Well,
time. Oh, okay.
not
Well,
really.
no.
I wasn't planning on going to my maternity leave. We were in our winter break. So the baby's due date was February 4th. We were in our Christmas break. We had Christmas with our family. She decided to come 5 weeks early.
Okay.
On
Yeah.
New Year's, she was a New Year's baby.
New Year's Day.
Yeah. So right after Christmas, we actually had our virtual baby shower the day after Christmas at my family's house through like a Google Meet video link
Yeah.
that like his friends could sign on at a
They
certain
have like a
block.
certain time.
My family could sign on at a certain block. We like mapped it out. So you still felt like we had some connection with people. But we did that like the 26th. And then we ended up having a pretty intense thing happen. Well, that on Christmas night or Christmas
can't
Eve. I
remember.
can't remember. It was Christmas night or Christmas Eve. Our dog at the time bit my sister-in-law
No.
during that holiday break, and that was a very tumultuous time. So we ended up going home and taking him with us, and we had to figure out like, you know, we knew our baby was coming soon, and we ended up having to figure out how to rehome him.
And we had, so this was a rescue dog that we had gone through obedience classes with. We had actually taken a class on like, you have a dog, now you're having a baby, what to do. We've been doing like a variety of things, and then he bit
And
someone.
I mean,
We were
thankfully
like,
she was okay. I think she still has a scar on her face from it, but it was very scary. And just knowing like we're gonna have a toddler at some point that's unpredictable, and she wasn't doing anything wrong. She just tried to move him from the couch, and so that was very scary.
yeah.
I don't want to say that like triggered something, but it was a very stressful couple days there. And then New Year's Eve, my water broke. So I woke up, he was on. I feel like you're better at this story. This is a good story.
It's a pretty, So we watched Soul that night, the Pixar movie.
The movie? Oh, I love that movie.
Such a good movie.
And during watching the movie, you kept saying that your stomach wasn't really feeling great,
Yeah.
but like you were like, I was like, is it gas? Is it?
It was
And you're
feeling
like,
really
no.
tight.
It's like
everything was tightening randomly.
Like a contraction?
Yeah. And so like we
And
didn't.
I was like, I don't know, it just feels weird.
And so like we finished the movie. It was like probably like 11:30, 11:45 at night. You had actually fallen asleep during the movie.
Yep.
And then my friends had texted me. They're like, let's just hop on like a video call and bring the new year together. And so like we were alone in our home. We were just together, and I hadn't had anything to drink. Obviously you had nothing to drink. So at like 11:45, I hop on a call with the guys, and I'm like, I'll pour myself like a small bit of scotch. We'll bring in the new year, and then I'll go to sleep. And so then like 2.5 hours later, we're still on this call, and I'm like 3 beers in and several scotches in, and we're playing a drinking game. I don't even remember what it is. And it's like 2:30 in the morning.
And that's when I woke up.
And yeah,
Meghann
comes over and she's like, I think my water broke. And in my infinite manly wisdom, I turned to her and said, no, it didn't. You just peed yourself.
Of course.
And she's like, nope, that happens after the birth. That's not pre-birth. And so I'm like, I'm pretty drunk, not having meant to be. Like that was not the plan. And I'm like, okay, so like, what do we do? And
I'm just on the toilet because my water's coming out.
Just like slowly leaking.
Yeah, and I'm just like directing him, like, you need to grab this.
No, but before that, you ended up back in bed, and you were like, somebody needs to call the nurse. And she's like staring at me, like someone needs to call the nurse. And I'm like, I am not talking to a nurse right now. Like I can barely put 2 words together. Like, what do you mean? So she calls the nurse, and they're like, yeah, if it's not it's important to note, the baby was breech.
Yep.
We knew the baby was breech, and we actually, at that week's appointment, you were going to schedule the C-section.
Yeah, if they were still breech, they were going to schedule it.
So we call the birthing center, and they're like, yeah, if the water's not like rushing out, it was just like a small trickle, like you don't have to come in right away, take your time. And then at that point you got up, and it like it gushed, and then the nurse was like, yeah, come on in. And we had been taking a parenting class, and the class that I had missed it, but the class that had just happened was like the build your hospital bag.
It was like our homework assignment, and he had like I think a migraine. You didn't go to that
and so I didn't go to it,
class.
which again is funny because I'm the planner. So like I'm the one that should have had this done, but Megan had hers done. I didn't. So Megan's on the toilet directing me like, we need this and we need that and we need this, and I'm just like scrambling around.
Yeah,
And then
you're
I'm like, I'm
freaking out.
drunk. Do you think I should make coffee? Like, do you think that will help me? And Megan's like, sure, make coffee. And like we got a stroller car seat like carrier combo that was sitting in the box, lovely wrapped up in the box still. So I was like, this whole box is coming with us. So like that got tossed in the trunk. And because it was COVID, we weren't really sure.
Oh yeah, if you
know,
were
like
gonna
a lot of people,
be able to leave.
you weren't when you were in there, if you left, you couldn't go back in. And so we were like, we didn't know what we were going to need or what we were going to be able to access. We're like really throwing everything we can in, thinking that we were going to basically be stuck there for however many days it was going to be. And then, so we're getting in the car, or we're going to the car, and I'm like, so who's driving to the hospital? And Megan's like, well, obviously I'm driving to the hospital.
Oh my God.
We can't tell the story. Like, yeah, you got drunk and then drove me to the hospital. That's not how that can go. And so we ended up going to Northwestern Medical Center, which is like 25 minutes away from us.
Yeah.
And we're like 20 minutes into the drive. We're like in St. Albans, pretty close. And I just like look at Megan. I'm like, have you had any contractions? Like what? Because she's just driving the car. Everything's fine. Like she's like everything's good. And I'm like, yeah, have you had any contractions? She's like, yeah, I've had like 7. I'm like, what?
5.
And I'm like, what? What do you mean?
Oh my God.
And so, yeah, so we get there and we get in, and I mean, so your water broke at like 2:15, 2:30. It probably took us about an hour to like get everything together and go. We were probably at the hospital somewhere around 4.
Yep.
And by 5:48,
5:44,
we had a baby.
She was born via C-section.
Whoa. Oh, so you did have a C-section.
Yeah, they like touched my stomach with the ultrasound while they're like, yep, she's still in breech.
And they were like, it was sort of a situation where it was like everything was fine, heartbeat was good, like, but they were like, you've lost a lot of water. It doesn't really make sense to, like, we know we're doing a C-section. It doesn't make sense to wait. The longer we wait, the more complications there can be. So we were like, yeah, let's go for it.
And I think, in Vermont, there's only like one doctor who can deliver, and it's not at that hospital. So
nope.
And with the water breaking, there wasn't even a chance to even try to like turn her or anything. So
yeah,
that C-section, yeah. But I think I was so amped up on like those
adrenaline and endorphins.
That, I wasn't scared. Like the C-section actually went really seamlessly. The surgical team was amazing. Like I had this woman who I feel like her sole job was just to calm patients, and she was just like this older matronly woman. She's like her forehead against mine. She's like, we're gonna get the spinal now. And she's like talking me through every single step, and she's like, just take deep breath. She was so wonderful. I remember feeling like really calm for how like stressful that could have been. So I can't say enough good things about our experience actually with all of that.
Yeah, we've done, I mean, we did both at Northwestern Medical Center, and both were amazing. I mean, there were, a few hiccups here and there, but.
Whereas the second was also a C-section because of breech. So there must be something structural. I don't know with me. But
maybe they just don't want to turn.
Here you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with the second, I did have a lot more like anxiety and symptoms. Like I got really nauseous. My color was all draining out of me, and they had to like keep giving me the whatever they give you to feel better.
I don't even know. I had a C-section. I don't know what they gave me. I don't know.
It helped.
But that's good. I'm glad it helped. So just because it's my job to weave us.
Yes.
So luckily you already knew you were having a C-section, so you got there. That was quick. I mean, that was lightning. You guys got there, you got prepped, you got in. Yeah. And you had like the Zen master of nurses or anesthesiologists or whoever this woman was, like, to just make sure you were grounded and centered. Mike, were you with her? Were you able to be with her?
Yeah, so I was able. They had me in the OR, um, and yeah, I mean, there was no having done it now twice, once during COVID and once not. It was exactly the same both times. So they didn't have any different restrictions. I mean, I was in a mask. Was I don't think I was in a we weren't in masks. Well, I wasn't in a mask the second time. I think it was just the first time. I mean, they put you in the full get up,
Yeah.
right? You're like in a
Yeah.
full get up. But I think, yeah, I mean, I definitely had to have a mask on in the first one. And
Yeah, what were you feeling?
I was gonna say, like, what was that experience like for you?
Well, you were
yeah,
drunk.
Yeah, you were still
yeah.
drunk.
Just
It
sobering up in the
it was
OR.
definitely like yeah. So I mean, yeah, because I also hadn't slept. Megan at least had gotten like a couple hours of sleep. Um yeah, it was a very surreal experience. I had experienced my mom had passed away a couple years prior and under some pretty awful circumstances, and we ended up having to do some cleaning in her apartment, and I put on a full painter's jumpsuit and like
Mm.
had booties on, and so they like give you the gear before you go in the OR, and I put it all on, and I'm sitting in a chair and I'm looking down and I'm like, huh, this looks familiar.
Mhm.
And I had a pretty rough relationship with my mom, so I'm like drunk, trying to sober up, thinking about the last time I had been wearing something like this, and then they're like, "We're ready for you to come into the OR," and
That's a lot.
you come in, and like they've got when you're in for C-section, they have you cut. The woman is covered um up. You can really, it's like to the
It's like
chest
a
almost,
drape.
Yeah.
and there's her little head poking out, and you don't know, you don't know what's going on. Like there's like a lot of chaos happening, and then there's a baby. And then there's like a screaming baby, and they're like, oh, you can go to the warming table where the baby is, and this thing is covered in like white stuff, and all I could think was, the thing looks gross.
Yup.
This is, what is this? Isn't a baby? What is this?
This is an alien.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. But yeah, it was all. I don't know that the second experience was all that different, other than I knew what was coming. It still is all just like, it's just chaos the whole time until then there's a baby.
That's yeah. And then it's chaos.
Yeah,
It's just more chaos. Yeah.
that's right.
Continuous chaos for the rest of your life.
For the rest
Yeah.
of your life. It just changes what the chaos looks like. Was your second early as well?
Only 3 weeks.
Only 3 weeks.
So
Okay.
our first was 5 weeks to the day early, which they had actually said if she had been born 1 day earlier, she would have immediately had to do a NICU stay just for hospital protocol,
And we
Mhm.
would have had to
and we would have had to go to the bigger
to go to
hospital.
UVM
UVM for their NICU.
Yeah,
for
but
the birth, for everything.
For everything. Okay.
thankfully she came out super, super healthy. Like her APGAR score I think was 9, and
Wow.
no issues breathing.
There were the only,
She just was jaundiced a little,
but like the
and
tiniest, they didn't even have to really do anything for it.
and
Like
she
they
was
just
tiny, but
constantly
she
checked.
was sorry.
They just constantly checked bilirubin, but they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't end up having to like. She didn't even sit under the light at all. Really, like it was very, very minor.
Yeah, and she was tiny, but she was actually a pretty good weight for 5 weeks early.
She was just
So
ready.
she was ready.
Which, based on, it's funny how these things go, and I don't know how much of it is real or we make it up, but like totally makes sense based on her personality.
Who she
Yeah.
is now. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got her own timetable.
I was gonna say does
Yeah.
things on her own terms. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course.
Well, so let's get into it a little bit. Let's get in, because we're gonna go there. Everything was a whirlwind. The way that she came into the world was not what you expected. Mike, you were going through a lot of things. There were a lot of things swimming around. And
Yeah.
Meghann, even though you had planned for a C-section, this was not the way you planned for it. So as you're transitioning into these first few days, first few weeks as brand new parents, what kind of feelings are coming up for the two of you? How are you processing what just happened?
Yeah, the first 5 weeks, and again, she was 5 weeks early. So really, though that time span, she was just a potato that slept all day. I remember just thinking like, "Wow, this is really easy." Like, we just feed her and then we put her down and she sleeps, and then occasionally have to change her and it all just starts over, but she was just sleeping all day. And then that quickly changed, once we hit her actual date of when she should have come,
Yeah.
and she was starting to cry, like, all of the time, and just couldn't be calmed or satisfied, like, she just was an unhappy baby for a very long time.
We went through many months of if she was awake, she was crying, and if she was asleep, she was attached to one of us.
Yeah.
Um, so like she would take really long naps, but she had to be attached. So like I remember during my paternity leave, I remember we have the yoga ball that you buy,
Mm-hmm.
when you're pregnant. So I would like have to bounce on the yoga ball with her attached to me until she would fall asleep. And then I would basically lay in bed and like I had a switch and I would just play video games for a few hours while she was asleep. And then she'd wake up and cry. And then she would do that for a while and then strap her back on and bounce her so she goes to sleep.
It was literally the only thing that could calm her down, because everyone would be like, "Well, try baths, or try going in the stroller, try going for a drive." She hated the car seat. She hated the stroller, and it was also the middle of winter, so
It
you're
was,
not
yeah.
Yeah,
you
you're not
can't
going on
do
walks.
that. And then she hated baths. Like, there was nothing that everyone would, have all
And,
this wisdom that never worked.
and
She just screamed.
we tried the whole like you put them in and you kind of let them like fuss a bit, but there was no fussing for this one. She was fine or she was dying. Like
Yeah.
Mm.
that's what it was like. So people would say like, oh well, just let her fuss for a few minutes. It's like I would love to do that. I would love to let her fuss for 5 minutes. I don't think she knows how to fuss.
She
Um,
skips right to the
to
to
the
the
screaming bloody murder.
Screaming.
yeah.
There was one night it went on so long that we ended up calling the doctor, and it was, like, past hours, and we're just like, "She won't stop screaming." They had us, like, check her body to see if there was, like, little hairs, how they say they can get rough,
Yeah.
and there's just no signs, and eventually she just tired herself out, but, like clockwork, every night, like 5 to 8 p.m., just screaming, and Mike and I would take turns in the rocking chair and just, like, rock her and do everything we could, but it's like you couldn't we couldn't, like, regulate ourselves because you're just constantly hearing screaming.
Yeah.
I say that hell is just overtired babies all around you screaming, and you're just constantly trying to get them to sleep. That would be my hell.
Oh my god, I can yes. Yeah, I can absolutely picture that. Wha and you just briefly touched on it, like, you couldn't regulate your own nervous systems. What were you doing to cope? I mean, I'm not gonna say what was helping because nothing was probably helping, but what
Yeah.
were you at least trying to do to cope?
We we definitely, and pre-parenting, you're always, like, judging other parents, and you're judging, "Oh, I would do it this way, I do it that way." And I remember you go through the whole hospital training about never shake a baby, and
Mhm.
it's like going through that whole thing with our first, it was like, "Okay, I understand why you have to get this training," because you get to that point. And so Mike and I were constantly like, "I'm tapping out. I need to put the baby," like, we would just put her in the crib and walk out of the room for, like, 5 minutes, or if the other person was regulated enough, they'd go in and do it, but if you have to do that, because and I'm, like, the most patient person. Like, I have a lot of pa I'm a kindergarten teacher, so, like,
Yeah,
I have
you
a
it
lot of
you kinda
patience.
have to be.
I would get to those points as well and just need to take a break, and sometimes just go into a dark room and, like, put my head under the blanket and just I needed sensory deprivation sometimes.
Yeah.
You were probably
Yeah.
more video games and, like,
Oh yeah, I was totally
separating.
dissociating. I mean, I also like I didn't really I mean again, like as I mentioned earlier, when you're the non-birthing partner, you've sort of missed out on like 9 months of bonding to this little creature. And so like I didn't bond to our first one um on like probably at about a year. Like it took me a really long time to like feel connected. I mean I wouldn't say that I've been through a heck of a lot of therapy. I didn't start really enjoying being a dad until like probably 6 months ago. Like I've had moments here and there. Um, but like really it's like 6 months ago it all like kind of clicked for me. And I've got two, one is
Yeah.
almost 5 and one is 2. So um but so yeah, it took me a really long time to bond with Snuzz, and I definitely went through like a pretty intense depressive time. I like regular said to Megan, like, we've ruined our lives. We've made the worst decision we possibly could have made. Our life was so good. What were we thinking? Like, and like, yeah, I honestly believed, I was like, this is what it's going to be like for the rest of our lives. Now we're just going to have a screaming child for the rest of our lives. And yeah, I was pretty miserable. And then around it was April, we went to visit some buddies of mine that live out in Troy, some college friends, and we were both there with Snuzz, and she had gone to sleep pretty easily and then woke up and was screaming, and I like couldn't be with my friends. The house we were at had a bathtub, and Megan was in this bathtub like getting some time to herself. And so like my friends are all like hanging out, and I have to like go take care of this screaming child who has no reason to scream and whatever, just like should be sleeping. And I like finally get her down. I go downstairs and my buddy is like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Nope, I'm not okay." And like I just like unloaded and said all of these like pretty terrible things that I'd been thinking, but I'd said them out loud. And my friend was just like, "Why aren't you talking to us? Like you can't hold on to these things. You gotta let it out." And that was super helpful. And then like probably around 6 months, things started to change. She became more of a, I don't want to say normal, but like she wasn't screaming all the time. The sleeping became a little bit easier.
Once she could sit up, I think a lot of it was digestive, but
Mm-hmm.
tried all the probiotic stuff and all that. But nothing, yeah. Once she could sit up, things evened out.
Yeah,
But I mean, it took a long
it
time.
took a long time. Yeah,
And
it was
everyone
tough.
would tell us like, "Oh, 3 months, she'll be fine. 3 months is the mark." 3 months came and went, and it wasn't fine. And then you just felt like, "Oh, there's no hope for us. Like, what is happening?" Um, and then one of the suggestions of the pediatrician was like, "Well, maybe it's an allergy." And I was breastfeeding, and I was very adamant that I wanted to breastfeed. And so to the idea of having to like take out another thing for me, like I just couldn't handle that. I'm like, I'm not going to change my diet. I can't do that. And maybe that's selfish of me, but I was like, I can't give up another thing. And
Mm-mm.
I mean, I don't know how that all correlates. She hasn't had an allergy, but her digestion, I think, just matured, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's really wild.
She's just a fierce little kid. She's loud and independent, and she just was figuring it out, I suppose.
I mean, there's so many things that you hit on that are so important. And I love how candidly and almost like offhandedly you mentioned them, because to me, that signals you feel comfortable talking about it. And that's the goal, right? So, like, Megan, things that you said were like, yeah, sometimes I just put her down and walked away. And that is a really hard thing to do for a lot of parents. But when you know, like, and they say over and over again, like, they're in their bed, their crib, they're safe, you can walk away. But to hear you, a parent who has been through it, and you are on the other side of it, like, it's true. You can do it. You can put your baby down, you can walk away, and it's probably safer for everyone involved if you do
Yeah,
that. And then, Mike, to hear you talk about not being able to bond for quite a long time, that's not abnormal either, especially when you're dealing with overstimulation and lack of sleep. And I love that you brought up that moment with your friend, because whether it came from just complete overwhelm or it was just time to come out, like, you let your guard down and you let it all out, and that's another stigma with dads. Dads are supposed to hold it all together, and dads are like, just like you said, "I didn't carry the baby for 9 months, so I've gotta put up with this stuff." The other side of it is that I love that your friend said, like, "Talk to us about this."
Mhm.
Right? Like, that's so powerful.
And just validating, like, I know he said, like, "That sounds really hard."
Yeah.
Instead of, because we'd just been bombarded with all these, like, "Oh, it gets better, it gets better. Oh, it's gonna be great. You're gonna not feel this way." And it's
Yeah.
like, "Well, I do feel this way." Like, and that's okay, and, like, we need to talk about that too.
I think, so my aunt is a grief counselor, and she's sort of like a mother figure and has been for a long time. And she talks a lot about like the grief that comes with having children, and that cuz like, everyone thinks you have a kid and it's super happy, and it is. Like there's a lot of joy that comes with having kids, but like we didn't sit down for a meal together for months. Like we did not, all of the interactions that we had were gone because we
Yeah.
had this incredibly needy little kiddo. And with our second, we certainly lost out on things, but we didn't lose out on as much because our second one wasn't as, wasn't as,
Temperament was very
yeah, wasn't as
different.
intense. And so when you're going through it for the first time, the things you lose feel like they're lost forever. And when people say, "Oh, don't worry, you're going to get it back," it's like, I don't know that to be true. Like, it doesn't feel that way. Um, but my aunt was really good about saying, like, you know, it feels like these things are lost forever, but you're going to find one day, you're not even going to realize it, like those meals that you weren't having together, all of a sudden you are having them together. And like, you're not going to get everything back. And there's certainly grief associated with the life you've left behind, but you will get some things back, and you'll get new things that you didn't have before. And I think it was hard in those moments to recognize that, but after the fact, it was like, yes, we did get most of those things back. And look, even after having the second one, there were moments where we grieve having missing on just the three of us.
Yeah.
Like it's having a kid is not all joy. Like it is a lot of joy, and it's also a lot of grief and mourning. And that's okay. I mean, you can have room for both. Just when my first one was turning 4, she was like, "Are you happy I'm turning 4?" And I said, "I'm happy and I'm sad." It's like, "I'm happy that you keep getting bigger and that you keep learning new things, and I'm sad because you keep getting older." And even as at 4 years old, she was able to kinda pick up on some of that. So, there's a lot of that with parenting where there's a lot of joy and there's a lot of sadness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the both and I think that's something that is being pushed a lot in the whole mental health realm. Instead of saying "but," we're saying "and," like, there's
Mhm.
space for all of those feelings. Um, just watch Inside Out if we're going with the Pixar theme for
Oh,
this
Yeah.
for this episode, right? Inside Out and Inside Out 2, they're all pushing all the buttons. It's not just one all the time. The question that I feel like I have to ask, especially hearing Mike, you say, like, it was only within the last 6 months that you really started enjoying fatherhood and parenthood. What made you guys decide that you wanted to have another child when you were struggling to sort of maintain I wanna say maintain your sanity, but, like, find a new balance after having your first?
yeah. So our first was probably 4 months old or something, and we had gone on a walk, and Mike basically said, like, "If we have another, like, we're gonna get divorced. Like, there's no way we can sustain this is there's no way I can, like, approve having more right now." And, and I was just, like, shocked. Like, I knew
Yeah.
he was struggling, but I didn't know it was, like, to that level. Um, and I mean, that was pretty devastating to hear, and I wasn't really willing to accept it. Um, I don't think I really ever did accept that. I just kind of let it lie for a while.
Because we also weren't trying to have a second one
Right.
at
We
first.
knew that if we were gonna have a kid, it
It
was
was
gonna
gonna be
be
when the first one was 2 or 3.
yeah. And I mean, time really did just like play out, and things did get better, and things did get better. um, but
I
I th-
think
I knew I needed. This was something I remember telling you specifically. Like, I need to have another and know that's my last, so like I can
Mhm.
have all the closure. Like, I can know this is my last pregnancy, and then every time I put baby clothes away and sell them, I know that okay, we're done. Like, I need to have that closure for myself because I wasn't prepared for that with the first, obviously. So that was a big part for me, and then also knowing that I really needed, or I really wanted my first to have a sibling to grow up with. Those were my 2, like, in my mind, kinda non-negotiables. Um, I don't know how you perceived me hearing you, but, like, I guess I don't feel like I ever really
well, I think that while, like, I didn't love parenthood with our first, by the time we got to about a year and a half old, it was at least, like, more enjoyable. Like,
yeah.
they can do things. They're not quite potatoes, right? So, like, I
Yes.
was certainly finding moments of joy and enjoying it and enjoying her and all that. And so I think once she had reached like 2, I I
You
still wasn't.
loved 2.
Yeah, 2
2
was a
was
great age. We had a lot of fun at 2 with the boys.
Everybody hates 2, it's 3 that you really have to watch out for.
yeah,
Yeah,
3's horrible.
yeah, 3's rough.
Mhm.
3-nager.
2s are
I have
fun.
a 3-year-old right now.
Yeah. um, but I think what it was basically like I was in a place where I was sort of like, I still am not sure that having a second is what's best for me, but I know that having a second is what's best for everyone else. And I think that it's more like at that point, it was sort of like me not wanting a second wasn't as strong as like knowing that my first would be better with a second and knowing that Megan really needed to have a second. And so it basically became a game like a cost benefit, cost.
Benefit
Yeah,
analysis.
yeah, exactly. Where it was
Yeah.
like, she needs this more than I don't need it. And so I'm happy to kind of go along for the ride. And now at least I know what to expect. The likelihood that the second is going to be like the first is really low. If it is, we at least know it's going to end at some point. And we got through the first time, we'll get through the second time. And this came along later on, but right before we had the second, I decided to go back into therapy. Like there were some things that came up that were like really intense. I spoke with a friend of mine who was like, you need to get your shit sorted out before the second baby comes. Like you need to, she was like, your wife does not need to be like having a baby like while you're all over the place. Like you, whether it's medication, whatever it is, like you need to get this figured out. Um, and so I decided to go back into therapy. I think literally I went and like a week later,
Yeah,
Mouse
it
came.
was that summer.
Um, and so
Well, we should just add in, it was so probably like between year and a half, like we had kind of agreed that we were gonna have a second, and then our second wasn't. We were gonna push it off, but then she came unexpected. Like we got
I
pregnant.
Yeah, we
Ah.
we didn't
Was not
we had
necessarily
a
planned.
plan. I didn't listen to the plan, or I apparently didn't get notes on the plan. Um, and so we had Mouse probably about 6 months earlier than we had originally wanted to. But yeah, I decided to go back into therapy so that when we started having the newborn and all these things, I was like simultaneously going through therapy and like sorting out a bunch of stuff that I hadn't at that point sorted out. And so we were also very fortunate that Mouse was a super easy baby, like very, very, very
So
easy
they,
baby.
I mean, they were complete opposites. Like you
It's
could, I
funny how
remember.
that works.
It's
Mhm.
wild. I remember having a friend over just drinking coffee, and our second was like in tummy time on the floor. And we're just like chatting away, and then we look over and she just fell asleep. Like
Oh my God.
my first would have never, like, she needed us bouncing in the dark.
Yeah,
It was wild.
Mouse was like sleeping through the night I think by like 3 or 4 months. Like she was getting like 6, 7 hour
Yeah, she was
stretches,
such a good
Wow.
sleeper.
which our first at by 18 months was not sleeping through the night. Like was still waking up once in the middle of the night. We co-slept with our first
We had to co-sleep.
for a really long time.
We were not pro sleeping until we had
Until
But
you
then
had your baby.
one of
Yeah.
those things that I was super judgy about, and then I was like, okay, this
But-
is how I'm gonna
but we
function.
are pro sleep.
Yes,
And the
we're
only way
pro
that we
sleep.
got sleep was by bringing the kiddo in with us. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I also just like side note, I love your pseudonyms for both of your kids, Snuzz and Mouse. Well, and then it also like when you're talking about Mouse, like it like their temperament. See, I don't know if that's why you chose the pseudonym, but like just like a quiet little mouse. Like I don't know. Um
Mouse was very squeaky as a baby, and so the first
the first
nicknamed her
one
Mouse.
named her Mouse.
the
She's like, oh,
first
she's
one,
squeaky.
oh, Snuzz nicknamed Mouse.
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of love that. I
Yeah.
also love that you keep making the analogy to the potato, because that's literally what we called our second, and I still
Yeah.
call her a potato all the time. I just call her sweet potato now. But like again, it's that other side of parenting, right? Like we're sold they're beautiful, and when they put them on your chest, you're just like, this is the most glorious thing I've ever held, and it's magic. And no, like you were saying, Mike, like they're covered in vernix and blood, and they're sometimes purple or blue or gray, and then they just look weird for a while and they don't do a whole lot. So for parents who are like, yeah, I didn't really like I didn't feel they just kind of lived in my house,
Yeah.
right? Like they lived in my house and I had to take care of them. That's an okay reaction. That's a perfectly valid reaction to the circumstances that were presented to you guys. It's going to feel like I'm fast forwarding, but it's just for sake of time. You guys have both done such a beautiful job of like interweaving both of your kiddos' stories throughout this whole time, which has made my job a lot easier because I don't have to follow a strict timeline. You're doing like comparisons in real time, which is so nice. But I want to go back to that comment that you made about 6 months ago you finally started to find your groove,
Mhm.
Mike. And I'm going to touch on that too, but Meghann, do you feel like you've hit your groove as a mom?
Yes, I had a much easier time right from the beginning. I wouldn't say I had any trouble bonding. It was that 4th trimester was hell on earth, I'm still saying.
Yeah.
But I very much felt connected to her and bonded and everything. I feel like once they hit once a baby hits 18 months, that is when I'm like, "All right, we're cruising." Um, Anything prior to that is just it's really
Survival.
hard. Yeah, and the sleep is so important for me. I remember I don't remember how old she was, but maybe like 9 months or something, and the first had woken up at like 4 in the morning and was like ready to be awake, and I was just sobbing like in her room, and I'm just like pleading with this 9-month-old like, "Please just sleep." And she like picked up her pacifier and put it in my mouth.
Oh my god.
I was
That
just
is the sweetest thing I think I've ever heard.
so sweet, but I
Here,
just remember
mama.
feeling so broken. Like, I just
Yeah.
need to sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, once the sleep is sorted out and everything, I feel like I've been cruising.
I ask that question for several reasons. One is just out of curiosity, and two, purely for my own like I don't know if I have ever felt like I've got it down. And I know that there's a lot of us out there that are like, "No, dude, I'm still in survival mode." But at least there's glimmers along the way.
What Yeah,
Yeah,
what's
go ahead.
interesting for me, I feel like I'm going to go backwards because I'm all about
Oh.
the early ed. Like, I'm an early educator. I absolutely love young children. Once they hit, like, that, 5th grade and on, I feel like I'm gonna just not know what to do, and that's
Girl,
when I
let
would
me
gonna, like, soar. So, at least we're a team, but I can't I don't know how people manage older children.
So
That's scary.
I try so hard to not make this about me at all, but I will say I was the same way. I was always an early educate, like kindergarten through 2nd grade. Don't give me anything higher. That is where I thrive. And I am finding I have my oldest is going to be 10 on the 22nd, and it's hard, man. I'm like, I don't know what to do with you or how to answer the questions that you're. She's also neurosparkly too, so I'm like, and I'm a special educator. You'd think that I would, but I'm like, girl, we gotta sit down. But yes, so I can relate. I see you on that, and I'm hopeful for you that you
I
can
would
still
say
cruise.
an area that I could use more growth in, which again, he's much better at, is, like, consistent boundary like, the discipline aspect.
Yes,
I'm a lot more, like, lenient, flexible.
I am as well. Yes.
How can we negotiate this?
That is yes. And when I ask my husband, I'm like, "Why do they just listen to you? Or why do they
Right.
leave you alone? Why do they just leave you alone if you're in a room?" He's like, "I don't know, they just do." And I'm like, "They never leave me alone. Ever." Okay. So, Mike, I said I would come back to it, but what you said you're finding your groove. What does that look like and feel like to you? What of the last 6 months, what's different about them?
So I think for a large portion for a large portion of my first time on this planet, and for a good portion of my seconds, parenting has always been like a checklist. It's like a chore. It's like you got to do this, then you got to do this, then you got to do this. And over the last like 2 years after being in therapy and really beginning to heal some of my childhood trauma, and parenting does a lot of healing too. um I have found it much easier to live in the moment and to be present. And when I am present with my children, it is an absolute joy. When I lean into like, we're gonna sit and play this game now, or we're gonna read these books now, or and as it has gotten easier and easier for me to be in the present and to not focus on future or past or whatever, it has become more and more enjoyable. And so like I would say that at least daily I am sort of astounded that I am so lucky to be these kids' parent. And um I've also found that practicing gratitude, I mean, there's a lot of like, like your what are the words, your mantras or gratitude or all
Mhm.
these things that like I think when you say them out loud it feels kind of silly and foolish. But if you like actually practice them, like if you like at night with our first, I got into this pattern of asking her like, what are you grateful for? And then she started asking me, well, what are you grateful for? And so I was put into this position where I had to like really be thoughtful about what I'm grateful for. And when you do that for a while, it doesn't become a practice, it becomes a default. Your brain defaults to what are you grateful for? And I am in a place now where I'm far more present and I'm able to be far more open to what I'm grateful for. And I think because of that, I really love and enjoy being a parent to the point where like I'm now like, I don't know if I'm done. I mean, we are
We
done.
are done.
We've gone through the process of being done, but
Okay.
um,
I was like, "Whoa, that's the twist that this
I would
yeah.
say,
episode didn't see coming."
like, a month ago, he started making comments, like,
Well, because our second is now starting to like even just like over the last week, our second is like saying sentences now.
Yeah.
Like before, she would just go like but now like even today, she was like, "Open door, please." And it's
Yeah.
like I'm not ready for that to be done. Like I'm not ready for them to be too big to like sit on my lap and rock. I'm just not. I'm not ready for that. Um,
I never thought
yeah.
I'd hear him say that.
Yeah, I'm shocked. That was the twist that I didn't
Yeah.
see coming. Yeah, so again, there are so many things that you brought up that are important for a lot of us to remember, that these things are skills and that they are a practice, but the more that you practice them, the easier it becomes to embody them. And like you talk about gratitude. What are you grateful for? In my life, I call them glimmers, and it's just you're looking for the glimmers. And I absolutely love that your oldest is now inquiring that of you because you modeled that for them.
Mhm.
Yeah. I have to find a way to wrap us around, and it's so hard because literally I could talk to you guys forever.
Mhm.
And no, this has been so hard for me because I don't know if it's because you're just Vermonters or if I feel like I know you because we've been chatting, but like it's been so hard for me to not be like, "Oh my god, me too," or like, "Oh, that happened to me too," because that's not what I'm here for. So I have to put my podcaster hat back on, my host hat back on. How do I want to do this? You're seeing it in real time. This is Meghann, when you listen to my podcast, this is the stuff you don't hear. This is what I edit
But
out.
great.
What I think I've appreciated most about both of you being together, because I don't often get to meet with couples or co-parents or even just two people at once. So what I've really enjoyed is being able to explore your journey to and through parenthood through both lenses, right? Through Meghann's experience and through Mike's experience. And I think that's what's so cool about your podcast too, is that it is exploring the duality of that, and you're talking to people in your lives and getting their experiences too. And I'm so freaking excited that now I can go listen to the episodes because now we've chatted. So yeah, we're all about, Quiet Connection, we're all about smashing stigmas, and we're all about talking about the things that we're told we're not supposed to talk about. And the two of you have done that so beautifully and in two very different ways. I feel really lucky to have been able to sit with you in this and get to hear your journey through two very different sides, two different experiences. I don't know. You both have the same kids. You both went through the same things, but you experienced them in very different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is me encouraging listeners to listen to Pondering Parenthood podcast. Check the freaking show notes, people. Show notes are where the good stuff is at. That is how you find out things about my guests. And that's where you'll find a link to the podcast. If my listeners want to learn more about you, about your podcasting, about how they can sort of follow your journey, where is the best place for them to find you?
So our podcast is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, and YouTube. So it's Pondering Parenthood. And then we also have an Instagram where I'd love to get more engagement once we have more followers. And that's the handle is Pondering Parenthood Pod.
Mm-hmm.
But they can also email us
Mhm.
at ponderingparenthoodpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, you guys are legit.
We're
You've got
legit.
And
you are legit.
we're looking to, currently we're interviewing like family and friends, but we would love to start getting a diversity of experiences on our podcast.
We'd love to have you come on our podcast.
I would love to be on your podcast.
And I don't know if we could get Ben on there too, but it would be really cool.
Ooh, like both of us at the same time?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or two.
Whatever you guys want to do, I would be absolutely honored. So listeners, that's your call to action. Check out their Instagram, the podcast, email them, email Mike and Meghann, and get on their show. Okay. Support more Vermonters. Okay.
Yeah.
We're living in this little bubble up here, and you can come be in the bubble with us.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Now comes the fun part that you weren't expecting. You thought you knew, Meghann.
No, I really
But you
did.
but you didn't. I'm doing a new thing It's the elder millennial in me. Everyone's all about text messages and voice memos, and everybody's easily reachable, and you can get someone at a moment's notice. And I'm taking us back to the days where you had to call a landline, and if nobody answered, you had to leave a message. So my next guest, you don't know who they are. You don't know anything about them, but you called Quiet Connection today. And they didn't answer because they weren't here yet. So you have to leave them a message. And you can literally interpret that however you would like. But the fun part is you get to come back to the episode before yours to get your message.
Wow.
That's my little, right? I'm trying it out for season 6 and 7. But yeah, so you're leaving a message for whoever this person may be.
It's all you.
Me?
No, I'm challenging you, Mike. You both have to leave your own messages.
I guess I'm gonna, I'll start. I'm just gonna kind of pick up where we just left off. I'm just gonna be like, practicing being present and practicing gratitude are like the keys.
Love it.
That's my message.
I know, that's it. They just pushed beep and they're like practicing. Oh, okay, Mike. He's very wise. All right.
My message would be that I think that we were all meant to be on this podcast. And we are creating community right here, right now. And it's what's connecting all of us together. And I think that's beautiful. So thank you, person, for joining this Quiet Connection community. And we can learn from each other.
I love that as well. I love both of those. Those are both very you. And I don't even know you that well, but it just matches the vibe. I love that. And yes, that's the whole goal, right? Everyone who comes on Quiet Connection, you're now part of the family. You're now part of the community. The village that we were all promised, this is it. And you're a part of it now. You're in. You're VIPs. I am so glad that we finally got to chat and see each other's faces for real. Maybe for real someday, since we're really not that far away. And yeah, just thank you for being honest, open, vulnerable, and yeah, I see you. I literally see you, but I see you.
And I want to thank you, Chelsea, because I feel like listening to your podcast has really helped me become more open with how I'm communicating things. Like, there have been so many times where I'll listen to an episode and it's like, I experienced that, and they just put it so eloquently that, like, the same exact things I've thought and felt, but like I couldn't express them myself. So there have been so many moments like that. So it's just really cool to finally meet you.
Oh my gosh. I literally cannot tell you how much that means to me. That's my whole goal. My whole goal is so that whoever is listening feels seen and doesn't feel alone. So that means so much to me. Mike and Meghann, thank you so much for your honesty and for reminding me that there's room for both the grief and the gratitude in parenthood. I'm so grateful that we were able to finally chat. Your story and your podcast are reminders that so much is gained through connection. Listeners, please be sure to check the show notes to find out where you can find Pondering Parenthood and more. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to Quiet Connection, leave a review, and share it with a friend who could use some support. Follow us on social media for more stories, and if you'd like to share your own, visit quietconnectionpodcast.com or email quietconnectionppmh@gmail.com. Join us next time when another story is told and you realize you are not alone. I see you.